Picture yourself walking through the misty streets of feudal Japan, where shadows dance in lantern-lit alleys and the distant sound of wooden geta echoes like a heartbeat. In this world, honor and superstition intertwine, creating customs that, for us today, defy belief. Imagine witnessing a samurai calmly preparing for seppuku, a ritual suicide seen as the ultimate act of valor, while the crowd looks on with reverence rather than horror. Or envision a thrilling night where whispers of demons parading under the moonlight keep the bravest souls inside their homes. Throughout this journey, we'll uncover practices so fascinatingly odd, they might just send a tingle down your spine. From ghostly tales of vengeance that shaped social norms to the chilling ceremonies once considered routine, these eerie customs provide a glimpse into a world where reality and myth were one and the same. Join us as we delve into these mysterious traditions and unravel the surprising truths that continue to echo through the corridors of history. Stay tuned, because you won't want to miss the spine-chilling revelations we have in store. The grim practice of seppuku served as a profound testament to the values that governed the lives of samurai. Rooted deeply in the samurai code of ethics known as Bushido, seppuku was not only a method of suicide but a culturally significant act of restoring honor. This ritual was intricately tied to a sense of duty and was often performed by samurai who faced the shame of defeat or dishonor. Society viewed this extreme measure as noble, embedded in the belief that it was better to die by one's own hand than to live without honor. Seppuku was a highly ritualistic ceremony, rich in symbolism and tradition. The samurai would prepare meticulously, donning white robes as a symbol of purity. They would choose a quiet, serene setting, perhaps a garden or a temple, surrounded by fellow warriors and sometimes even a chosen witness to ensure the ritual was carried out with dignity. The process involved specific roles such as the kaishakunin, a trusted person tasked with beheading the samurai to ensure a swift death. This act was not only practical, preventing prolonged suffering, but also symbolic of the strong bonds between warriors. As the samurai made the initial cut into their abdomen, the kaishakunin would swiftly complete the act. This gruesome yet elegant ritual demonstrated the extent to which the samurai embraced their code and the significant societal pressures that glorified such acts of self-discipline. It painted a vivid picture of a society where honor was life's ultimate pursuit, and the act of seppuku served as a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made in its name. Public executions were a chilling reality in feudal Japan, playing a significant role in both entertainment and the enforcement of societal norms. These events were far from private affairs. They were orchestrated spectacles designed to instill fear and ensure compliance among the masses. Methods varied widely, from swift and decisive beheadings to the prolonged agony of crucifixion. The harshness of these punishments served a dual purpose. They were a form of retribution for the most heinous crimes and a stark reminder of the consequences awaiting those who dared to defy the state's authority. Crowds would gather, sometimes in thousands, their presence not merely out of morbid curiosity, but driven by a societal habit that made attendance almost compulsory. The execution ground was a stage where the drama of life and death unfolded, illustrating the omnipresent power of the ruling class. This grim theater echoed throughout history, drawing parallels with other cultures that employed public executions as tools of social control. As the executioner delivered the final blow, the air was thick with tension and the unspoken understanding that order was maintained through fear. Such events were deeply embedded in the culture, reflecting a complex interplay between justice, power, and the human fascination with the macabre. These public displays left an indelible mark on the psyche of the people, reinforcing a social order rooted in fear and obedience. The night parade of 100 demons, or Hyakki Yagyō, captures the imagination with a vivid tapestry of fear and wonder. Envision a warm summer night when the veil between our world and the supernatural thins, unleashing a procession of yokai, the spirits and demons that ignite both awe and trepidation. These otherworldly beings were said to roam the streets in a chaotic parade, each with unique traits and stories, instilling a sense of the mysterious and the bizarre. In the folklore of feudal Japan, yokai were more than just eerie tales spun by grandmothers to frighten children. They were deeply ingrained in the collective consciousness, serving as embodiments of societal fears and superstitions. Tales of Hyakki Yagyō were not arbitrary flights of fancy. They mirrored the anxieties that permeated everyday life. People believed that misfortune or inexplicable events were the handiwork of these capricious spirits, and thus stories of their antics offered a necessary explanation for the unpredictable nature of life. In a society where conformity and adherence to rules were paramount, the unpredictable yokai served as cautionary figures, warning against folly and moral transgressions. For example, encountering a yokai might be a metaphorical warning to steer clear of envy or deceit. Such narratives were woven into the moral fabric, subtly guiding behavior and reinforcing cultural norms. The legends of Hyakki Yagyō remind us of a time when the line between the real and the spectral was blurred, and the shadows held secrets too tantalizing to resist. This folklore, with its rich symbolism and moral lessons, provides us with a window into the psyche of feudal Japan, revealing how myth was used to make sense of the world's uncertainties. As we explore these tales, we're reminded of the timeless human desire to find meaning in chaos, to see patterns where there is darkness, and to pass down wisdom cloaked in the garb of the fantastic. Onryō, the Vengeful Spirits, are a chilling testament to the belief in the supernatural vengeance that permeated feudal Japan. These spirits were thought to return from the afterlife to exact revenge upon those who wronged them. Such tales were a potent force in shaping societal behaviors, serving as a cautionary reminder that the wronged, even in death, could unleash retribution. The fear of provoking an Onryō was so ingrained that it subtly dictated moral conduct, warning individuals to tread carefully in their actions toward others. This narrative found its way into various cultural expressions, most notably in the stories of Onryō and Okiku, legendary figures whose tales of betrayal and haunting have left an indelible mark on Japanese theater and storytelling. Onryō, a woman wronged by her husband's treachery, is perhaps best remembered through the classic kabuki play, Yotsuya Kaiden, where her spirit seeks vengeance in a chilling tale of deceit and revenge. Similarly, the story of Okiku, a maid falsely accused of losing precious plates, became woven into countless adaptations, reinforcing the cultural lesson that justice, whether in life or death, would always be served. These narratives not only captivated audiences but also reinforced social norms, underscoring the belief that harmony and fairness were paramount. Through the lens of these spectral tales, we are invited to reflect on the timeless fears and moral imperatives that continue to shape societal values, reminding us that actions, even in a world beyond, bear consequences. The grim realities of poverty in feudal Japan often led peasants to face unspeakable choices, including the heartbreaking practice of baby abandonment and infanticide. For many, these acts were not born from malice but a desperate response to crippling economic hardships. In a society where resources were scarce and survival was uncertain, having more mouths to feed could mean the difference between life and death for a family. These actions were sometimes seen as a grim necessity rather than a deviation from moral conduct. Society, while deeply valuing life, understood the harsh choices faced by the most vulnerable. The practice was often tolerated as a silent acknowledgement of the realities of peasant life. Surprisingly, beliefs in reincarnation offered a form of solace. Many held faith that the souls of these children would be reborn into better circumstances, finding a life of potential and prosperity beyond the current world's suffering. This spiritual perspective allowed some to rationalize the heartbreaking decision as a temporary passage rather than an eternal loss. Additionally, population control measures were subtly endorsed to maintain a balance in a land of limited resources, reflecting a pragmatic, albeit somber, approach to family planning in the face of adversity. These practices, while difficult to comprehend today, reveal a complex interplay of survival, spirituality, and societal pressures that shaped life in feudal Japan. They invite us to ponder how cultural and economic forces can influence the harshest decisions, prompting reflection on the enduring impact of history's most challenging dilemmas. Tatarigami, the deities associated with curses and calamity, occupied a fearsome place in the spiritual landscape of feudal Japan. Believed to wield the power to unleash misfortune upon those who incurred their wrath, these entities were thoroughly feared and revered. The idea of Tatarigami was deeply rooted in the notion that misdeeds or disrespect could invoke their ire, leading to personal or communal disaster. Thus, the presence of these gods necessitated a variety of rituals aimed at appeasement. Communities would perform elaborate ceremonies, often involving offerings and prayers, designed to placate Tatarigami and avert the calamities they were thought to control. This belief system highlighted a unique interplay between religion and superstition, where the fear of Tatarigami was used to impart moral lessons and enforce social order. It was a way of attributing natural disasters such as earthquakes or famines to the divine displeasure, giving a tangible explanation for events otherwise beyond human understanding. The cultural narrative reinforced the necessity of harmonious living as a preventive measure against invoking the wrath of these cursed deities. It illustrated how beliefs in Tatarigami were woven into the fabric of societal norms, serving as a reminder of the potential consequences of imbalance and disharmony. Through this lens, we understand how these beliefs were not merely about the supernatural, but were also employed as tools to shape behavior and interpret the unpredictable nature of the world. The fear of Tatarigami thus served a dual purpose. It was both a means of spiritual reverence and a societal mechanism to maintain order in the face of life's uncertainties. The practice of human sacrifice in feudal Japan, though not as widely known or chronicled as in some other ancient cultures, represents a dark and mysterious facet of its historical tapestry. These sacrifices were deeply intertwined with the spiritual and agricultural life, often seen as a necessary offering to deities or spirits to ensure bountiful harvests or to avert looming disasters. Rooted in a belief system that placed immense importance on the balance between humans and the natural world, these rituals reflected the desperation and reverence for unseen forces perceived to govern fortune and calamity alike. Specific ceremonies varied, from solemn and secretive rites conducted in secluded shrines to more public displays involving entire communities. The participants in these rituals were often chosen through spiritual divination or perceived signs of divine selection. While accounts are sparse, archaeological findings and historical texts provide glimpses into these ominous practices. Artifacts unearthed near ancient sites reveal ceremonial tools and remnants believed to be associated with sacrificial offerings, hinting at the methods employed in these enigmatic ceremonies. Additionally, folklore and written records from the period suggest that these practices were sometimes witnessed by high-ranking officials or religious figures, emphasizing the significant societal weight placed on these acts. These sacrifices were not merely acts of appeasement, they symbolized a profound connection to the divine, a last resort attempt to influence forces beyond human control. Through this exploration, we gain insight into how ordinary people in feudal Japan perceived the world and their place within it, weaving a narrative of fear, faith, and the enduring human quest to negotiate with the unknown. Such practices reveal a society profoundly connected to its spiritual beliefs, showcasing how desperation intertwined with devotion to shape the cultural and religious landscape of the time. The social ostracism faced by the Byorakumin in feudal Japan reveals a harsh reality of caste-based discrimination that persisted throughout history. engaged in professions deemed unclean such as butchery, leatherwork, and execution. The Byakumen were marginalized as untouchables, relegated to the fringes of society. This ostracism was not merely a social bias but deeply rooted in the cultural obsession with ritual purity and contamination. Within the rigid social hierarchy of the time, the Byakumen occupied the lowest rung, often living in designated hamlets separate from the rest of the population. This separation underscored the discrimination they faced, manifesting in restricted rights and opportunities, and a constant association with impurity. The ideology of purity and contamination was ingrained in the religious and cultural fabric of Japan, influencing how individuals perceived and interacted with each other. This belief system placed immense emphasis on maintaining spiritual cleanliness, leading to the stigmatization of professions that dealt with death or animal carcasses. As a result, the Byakumen, despite their crucial societal roles, were denied basic dignity and respect, becoming victims of an unyielding caste system. The impact of this discrimination extended beyond daily life, affecting their social interactions, marital prospects, and even economic opportunities. Reflecting on this historical narrative, we see echoes of these attitudes in various forms today, as the struggle against discrimination and social inequality continues. The legacy of the Byakumen serves as a poignant reminder of the enduring challenges posed by deeply entrenched societal divisions, urging us to confront and dismantle prejudices that still persist. Exploring the folklore surrounding Kappa reveals a world where these mischievous water creatures were more than mere figments of imagination. Believed to be responsible for drowning incidents, the tales of Kappa served as cautionary stories designed to keep children safely away from the water's edge. With their humanoid bodies and distinctive, bowl-like heads filled with water, Kappa were often depicted as tricksters lurking in rivers and ponds, ready to ensnare the unwary. Parents would weave tales of these elusive beings to instill a healthy respect for the dangers hidden in serene waters, effectively merging myth with safety lessons. Kappa stories were deeply embedded in the cultural fabric of feudal Japan, transcending mere folklore to become integral parts of festivals and moral teachings. These tales were not only a means to protect but also to entertain and educate, reflecting societal values and fears. During traditional festivals, revelers would dress as Kappa, transforming the mythical into the tangible, allowing communities to interact humorously with their fears. Such representations underscored the duality of Kappa as both perilous and playful entities, reminding people of the thin line between safety and danger. In moral tales, Kappa were often shown as figures requiring wit and cleverness to outsmart, imparting lessons of caution, resourcefulness, and respect for nature's unpredictable whims. Their stories illustrated how fear of the unknown was seamlessly woven into everyday life, shaping behaviors and reinforcing communal values. The lore of Kappa thus offers a fascinating glimpse into how ancient societies used mythology to navigate their world, blending fear, wonder, and wisdom to create narratives that have endured through the ages. Lodging taxes for travelers, known as koshu otto, paint a vivid picture of how economic power was exercised during feudal Japan. Instead of paying with money, travelers were often required to provide labor or goods to local lords as they journeyed through different territories. This system was a strategic method of maintaining control, ensuring that the ruling class could extract necessary resources from those passing through their lands. For the common traveler, these taxes were not just an inconvenience but a significant imposition on their journey, often adding days of labor to what might otherwise be a simple passage. This barter-like system reinforced the hierarchical structure prevalent in society, where the needs and demands of the lords overshadowed the livelihood and plans of individuals. In broader terms, koshu otto had substantial implications for travel and commerce within feudal Japan. It created a web of obligations and dependencies that made it challenging for traders to move freely, hindering the flow of goods and services across regions. Such a system entrenched the power dynamics of the time, where economic and social control was tightly held by those in authority. The imposition of labor for passage not only highlighted the disparity between classes, but also acted as a tangible reminder of the lord's dominance over their territories. This practice of lodging taxes served as a mechanism to exert influence, maintain the status quo, and perpetuate the existing power structure. Understanding Koshu Otto offers us a glimpse into the complexities of travel and trade in feudal Japan, revealing how deeply intertwined economic practices were with social and political control, perpetuating a system where power was asserted through every aspect of life. Blood rituals and offerings played an intriguing role in the spiritual tapestry of feudal Japan, especially within Shinto and Buddhist practices. Blood, viewed as the essence of life, held immense symbolic power, acting as a conduit between the physical and spiritual worlds. These rituals were believed to establish a connection with spirits or appease deities, reinforcing the belief that life force could influence divine will. Among Shinto traditions, rituals involving blood were often conducted to purify and consecrate spaces, imbuing them with spiritual significance. They served to ward off evil spirits or as offerings to kami, the divine spirits residing in natural elements. For instance, historical texts recount ceremonies where small animals were sacrificed, their blood offered to invoke blessings or avert disasters. In Buddhist contexts, blood held a slightly different but equally profound meaning. It symbolized sacrifice and the relinquishing of earthly ties, reflecting the path toward enlightenment. Rituals might involve self-inflicted bloodletting, viewed as a deep commitment to spiritual purity and detachment from worldly desires. These practices, while unsettling to modern perspectives, were integral to the spiritual narrative of the time, reflecting the intricate relationship between the body, spirit, and the divine. Folkloric traditions abound with tales of blood being used to seal pacts with supernatural beings or to empower talismans believed to carry protective properties. These stories not only illustrate the reverence for blood as a life force, but also how it was woven into the cultural and religious fabric of feudal Japan. Through these rituals, people sought to understand and control the unseen forces governing their lives, using blood as a bridge to the spiritual realm. This exploration into blood rituals underscores a society deeply in tune with its spiritual beliefs, where the visceral act of offering blood was a testament to faith, fear, and the quest for harmony with the divine. The living ghost, known as eerie, add a fascinating twist to the supernatural beliefs of feudal Japan. Imagine the unsettling idea that a person's spirit could leave their body not in death, but driven by the force of profound emotions. These spirits were believed to have the power to haunt or impose suffering on others, embodying intense feelings such as jealousy, hatred, or sorrow. The concept of eerie is intriguing because it reflects the deep-seated fears of interpersonal conflicts and the consequences of unresolved grievances. In a society where keeping harmony was paramount, the fear that overwhelming emotions could manifest as a tangible threat exemplified the importance of managing one's feelings and relationships. The tales of eerie found their way into literature and folklore, serving as cautionary reminders of the peril when emotions were left unchecked. One notable story comes from the classic Tales of Times Now Past, where a jealous wife sends her living spirit to torment her husband's mistress, highlighting how these beliefs were embedded in daily life, influencing societal expectations and norms. Such narratives were not merely ghost stories but offered moral lessons, encouraging introspection and emotional regulation. The belief in eerie symbolizes the cultural understanding of the human psyche, where emotions are seen as powerful yet potentially dangerous forces. These stories, through their eerie allure, provide insight into how the Japanese navigated the complex web of social interactions and the underlying fears that could unravel the fabric of community life. This exploration of Ikkyo invites us to ponder the invisible threads connecting emotion, belief, and behavior, revealing the timeless struggle to balance personal desires with societal harmony. The practice of harakiri upon the death of a master reveals the profound devotion expected of samurai retainers, illustrating a commitment that transcended life itself. In feudal Japan, loyalty was more than a virtue, it was the very essence of a samurai's identity. When a lord died, it was customary for his closest retainers to commit harakiri, a ritual form of suicide to accompany him in death. This practice was not only a testament to their loyalty, but also a reflection of the deep-seated hierarchical bonds within the samurai class. The ceremony of harakiri for a master's death was graced with elaborate preparations, emphasizing the solemnity and honor associated with the act. Retainers would dress in ceremonial attire and partake in a meticulously prepared ritual, often held in a quiet, sacred space. The act itself was witnessed by fellow samurai, reflecting the communal acknowledgement of their sacrifice. The process was similar to seppuku, involving an initial abdominal cut followed by the kaishakunin's swift action, signifying the unwavering bond between master and retainer even in death. This grim tradition highlighted the extreme degrees of fealty embedded within the samurai ethos, underscoring the belief that loyalty did not end with life. The societal expectation was that a retainer's loyalty continued beyond death, demonstrating the samurai's dedication to their master and the established hierarchy. Such practices reinforced the values of Bushido, the way of the warrior, where loyalty, honor, and duty were paramount. While modern perspectives may find this practice disturbing, it served to strengthen the hierarchical structures and fostered an unwavering sense of community and duty among samurai. Harakiri upon a master's death paints a vivid picture of the extent to which loyalty was revered, embodying the intertwining of personal sacrifice and social obligation that defined the era. Magic and divination played an intriguing role in shaping the political landscape of feudal Japan, seamlessly integrating the mystical with the mundane governance of the time. Leaders often turned to divination and magical practices when making crucial political decisions, looking for guidance in uncertain and critical moments. This reliance on supernatural insight was not merely a curious quirk of history, but a deeply ingrained tradition that intertwined with statecraft to lend legitimacy and authority to rulings and actions. One of the most common applications of divination was in selecting auspicious dates for significant events, such as battles, political gatherings, or ceremonial occasions. By aligning such events with favorable celestial patterns and signs, leaders believed they could ensure success and prosperity, invoking the mystical to secure tangible outcomes. These practices underscored the belief that harmony with cosmic forces was paramount to the success of earthly endeavors. Beyond mere calendrical advice, divination also extended to foreseeing the outcomes of battles or conflicts, offering a divine perspective that could sway tactical decisions and strategic planning. Leaders and military commanders consulted spiritual guides or interpreters of omens, hoping to gain insight into the unfolding fates of their armies and adversaries. This reliance on the ethereal world was often employed as a tool to justify bold or controversial decisions, framing them as not merely acts of human judgment but as ordained paths revealed through supernatural means. Historical texts recount instances where rulers such as the Heian-era courtiers were known to consult diviners for guidance, their faith in divination reflecting the broader societal belief in the power of fate and the influence of the stars. Divination practices such as Onryō became institutionalized, with practitioners serving in official capacities at the courts, illustrating the fusion of superstition with governmental processes. The influence of magic and divination in political decisions offers a fascinating lens through which we can view the intricate balance of power, belief, and governance in feudal Japan. It reveals a culture where the leader's authority was fortified not only by sword and policy, but also by the silent whispers of the mystical, intertwined with the threads of fate that shaped the destiny of the nation. Through these practices, we see how the supernatural was woven into the fabric of daily life and state affairs, providing both a grounding and an unsettling unpredictability to the path of leadership and strategy. Ritualized cannibalism during times of famine paints a haunting picture of desperation that occasionally characterized feudal Japan. Amidst devastating agricultural failures and societal breakdowns, survival instincts sometimes led to the unthinkable cannibalism as a means to endure. These acts were shrouded in ritual, rooted in the belief that consuming human flesh could transfer the strength or spirit of the deceased to the living. Though strictly taboo in normal circumstances, the dire scarcity forced communities to reconsider moral boundaries, viewing such acts as a grim necessity rather than a deviance from humanity. Historical records, though sparse, hint at instances where these acts occurred, often in isolated regions hardest hit by famine. Accounts describe makeshift ceremonies that sought to sanctify what was otherwise an unimaginable act, as the starving clung to faint hope amidst unimaginable hunger. These narratives not only highlight the extremities of human endurance, but also the ways in which cultural beliefs were invoked to rationalize survival strategies. Cannibalism in these contexts both shocked and fascinated, leaving a mark on the cultural memory and serving as a cautionary tale of society's fragility. The broader challenges posed by agricultural failures during these periods were formidable. Crops decimated by natural disasters or pestilence left communities in disarray, stripping families of their livelihood and plunging them into the depths of despair. The societal infrastructure, often strained under feudal obligations and class hierarchies, faltered amid the chaos, unable to provide relief or support. People were left to fend for themselves, turning to any means necessary to survive. Against this backdrop, ritualized cannibalism emerges not as mere savagery, but as a desperate measure, a response born from the raw instinct to survive in a world that had become unpredictably harsh. It serves as a stark reminder of the lengths to which humanity can go when pushed to the brink, and the stories, though chilling, underscore the resilience and adaptability that are hallmarks of human history. As we reflect on these unsettling accounts, we're confronted with the enduring question of how societies cope with existential threats, challenging us to ponder the complex interplay of tradition, belief, and survival in the face of humanity's darkest hours. The Floating World, or Ukiyo, offers a captivating glimpse into the heart of feudal Japan's hedonistic desires, symbolizing the fleeting joys and transient nature of life. Amidst the era's rigidity and strict societal norms, Ukiyo emerged as a vivid cultural expression where relaxation and indulgence reigned supreme. This captivating world was vividly alive in the bustling entertainment districts known as the pleasure quarters, where people found refuge from everyday constraints. These vibrant districts were filled with tea houses, theaters, and other venues offering dance, music, and the legendary performances of geishas, serving as an oasis for those seeking to momentarily escape the weight of duty and expectation. Ukiyo reflected a society yearning for yet cautious of indulgence, offering a temporary release that highlighted the desire for freedom within an unyielding social order. Art and literature played an essential role in shaping and defining perceptions of this alluring lifestyle. Ukiyo-e, meaning pictures of the floating world, became synonymous with woodblock prints that captured the dynamic essence of this world. These prints, adorned with images of beautiful courtesans, kabuki actors, and lively street scenes, were not only artistic expressions but also social commentaries. They served to both immortalize and critique the times, providing a narrative that celebrated individuality within a society that often restrained it. Literature, too, embraced Ukiyo with works like Ihara Seikaku's tales offering poignant reflections and satirical glimpses into the lives of those entwined in this escapist realm. These stories romanticized and questioned the pursuit of pleasure, delving into themes of impermanence and the human desire for connection and joy. Through the lens of Yagyō, we see the delicate balance between restraint and indulgence, revealing how feudal Japan navigated the complexities of its social fabric. This exploration invites us to consider the timeless human yearning for ephemeral beauty and joy, illustrating how the desire to escape and bask in life's pleasures remains an enduring facet of the human experience. Tsukumogami, Haunted Objects, tells a fascinating tale of how everyday household items could transform into spirited entities once they reached a century in age. This belief stemmed from the animistic traditions deeply ingrained in Japanese culture, where everything, living or not, was thought to possess a spirit. The idea of Tsukumogami epitomized this worldview, suggesting that these seemingly mundane objects, often disregarded or taken for granted, would come to life after 100 years, imbued with consciousness and intent. This transformation was not merely a whimsical notion, but reflected a profound respect for the life force thought to inhabit all things. In folklore, it was said that neglected or mistreated possessions could harbor resentment and haunt those who had disregarded them. Such tales served as moral lessons, urging people to treat their belongings with care and gratitude. One popular story involves an umbrella Tsukumogami, springing to life with a single eye and mouth, hopping around to seek vengeance or mischief for having been replaced without reverence. These narratives emphasize the value of mindfulness toward one's possessions, encouraging a cycle of appreciation and ritualistic consideration in handling items destined for disposal. The cultural practice of honoring old possessions, such as holding ceremonies for broken tools or well-used garments, stemmed from these beliefs, ensuring that items were discarded with respect, thereby avoiding the wrath of a potential Tsukumogami. Through these stories and practices, we gain insight into how the spiritual and mundane converged in daily life, highlighting a unique blend of reverence, fear, and gratitude that define the relationship between people and their material world in feudal Japan. This exploration of Tsukumogami invites us to reflect on the boundaries between life and lifelessness, urging a reconsideration of the energies that surround us in the most unexpected of places. The cult of the dead, or yurei, introduces us to the ethereal specters of feudal Japan, spirits believed to have left the earthly realm with unresolved issues or grievances. These restless souls, often portrayed as floating figures draped in white funerary garments, were said to linger due to unfulfilled desires or injustices they suffered in life. The fear of yurei was deeply rooted in the cultural psyche, influencing burial customs and rituals designed to ensure that the deceased found peace and did not return to trouble the living. Proper funerary rites were imperative, as neglecting them might lead to a lingering spirit seeking retribution. Rituals such as encoffining, where a body was delicately prepared and laid to rest with personal possessions, were thought to help guide souls safely to the afterlife. Additionally, prayers and offerings were made to appease these spirits, aiming to grant them tranquility and closure. In Japanese theater, particularly No and Kabuki, yurei featured prominently as figures whose haunting tales conveyed moral lessons and societal fears. These performances vividly brought to life stories of these specters, emphasizing the consequences of betrayal or neglect and underscoring the need for thorough and respectful final rites. Such tales served as stark reminders of the spiritual beliefs that governed life and death, ensuring that respect for the departed was woven into the fabric of daily existence. Through the lens of yurei, we glimpse a culture where the boundaries between the living and the spirit world were delicately balanced, urging meticulous care for the departed to maintain harmony and avoid the haunting presence of those wronged in life. These narratives, both chilling and poignant, remind us of the enduring ties between the seen and unseen, illustrating how compassion and reverence were integral to navigating the mysteries beyond. Omens and superstitions govern the daily lives of people in feudal Japan, with a myriad of beliefs shaping decisions and behaviors as a means to exert some control over an unpredictable world. Everyday activities were closely intertwined with interpretations of signs and omens, ranging from the behavior of animals to the movement of celestial bodies. For instance, the crow was often regarded as an ominous creature signaling misfortune, while the appearance of a fox was tied to trickery or deceit. These interpretations extended to celestial events where eclipses or unexpected meteor showers were seen as harbingers of significant change or even disaster. Such beliefs were not merely whimsical, they were deeply embedded in the cultural fabric, influencing choices from agricultural practices to personal interactions. Farmers would often defer planting crops if an eclipse occurred, considering it a bad omen that could jeopardize growth and harvest. Likewise, travelers might delay their journeys if news of an ill-favored constellation spread, reflecting a collective reliance on the supernatural for guidance. On a more personal level, superstitions dictated social practices, where gifting or receiving certain objects like combs, which could imply separation, was avoided to maintain harmony and goodwill. These culturally ingrained beliefs reveal a society seeking reassurance amid life's uncertainties, wielding superstition as both a shield and a guide. The impact of these practices extended beyond historical Japan, with some superstitions persisting in modern times, illustrating their enduring influence on cultural norms. Through these traditions, we gain insight into a world where the visible and invisible intertwined, shaping a societal framework that navigated the enigmatic forces surrounding everyday existence. Yokai legends in feudal Japan were more than just spine-chilling tales told by candlelight. They were profound reflections of societal anxieties and a way to make sense of the unexplainable. These supernatural creatures, each with unique attributes and powers, were woven into the fabric of everyday life, serving as both entertainment and moral instruction. Take the Kappa, for instance, a river-dwelling yokai notorious for luring people, especially children, into water. This mischievous creature was a cautionary tale, warning against the dangers of playing near rivers, thus embedding a vital safety message within the folklore. Similarly, the kitsune or fox spirit was often portrayed as a shape-shifter with the ability to disguise itself as a human. Stories of kitsune were layered with themes of cunning and trickery, teaching listeners to be wary of deceit and to value honesty. Such tales were more than mere diversions. They served as cultural touchstones, reinforcing societal norms and behaviors. Yokai legends were also instrumental in shaping regional identities, as different areas of Japan had their own unique creatures whose stories contributed to local folklore. In some regions, legends of the Tengu, a part bird, part human figure, emphasized the importance of humility and respect, as these beings were believed to punish arrogance and pride. Through storytelling, communities not only entertained but also fostered a shared sense of identity and moral values, carving out distinct cultural narratives that resonated deeply with their audiences. These legends were preserved through oral tradition, art, and theater, ensuring their survival and continued influence across generations. As we delve into the lore of yokai, we uncover the rich tapestry of belief that intertwined with daily life, reflecting the fears, hopes, and morals of a society that sought to understand its world through the lens of the supernatural. The enduring fascination with yokai reminds us of the timeless human inclination to explain the unexplainable and to use stories as powerful tools for cultural continuity and moral reflection. Child sacrifices in bridge building provide a haunting glimpse into the depths of belief and superstition that permeated feudal Japan. These legends emerged from the conviction that offering a child's life could secure the favor of river spirits and ensure successful bridge construction. While these tales are spine-chilling and seem unfathomable today, they were rooted in the desire to appease the spirits that were believed to dwell in the natural world, particularly in rivers and streams, which were notoriously unpredictable and treacherous. The notion of sacrificing a life to guarantee structural stability may seem extreme, yet it underscores the immense respect and fear that people held for the natural elements they struggled to conquer. Despite the presence of these tales in folklore, tangible archaeological or historical evidence supporting such sacrifices is scant. Most accounts are steeped in myth and oral tradition, leaving a shadowy blend of fact and fiction that captivates the imagination. Some scholars suggest that these stories may have arisen as metaphoric representations of the hardships endured during construction, or as allegories for the social and moral sacrifices communities made to achieve such feats. The narratives serve to highlight the tension between humanity's engineering ambitions and the untamable forces of nature, reflecting a world where every river crossing was fraught with peril and uncertainty. Symbolically, these stories speak volumes about the community's collective psyche, illustrating the lengths to which people might go when faced with overwhelming challenges. They reflect a society grappling with the intersection of spiritual belief and the practical demands of survival. In their ritualistic aspect, even if largely fictional, these tales remind us of the ancient human impulse to seek control over the environment by invoking the divine or supernatural. As we explore these legends, we gain insight into the cultural and psychological landscapes of feudal Japan, revealing a complex tapestry of fear, reverence, and the relentless pursuit of harmony between human endeavor and the natural world. Buddhist hell scrolls, known as Jugoku Zoshi, offer a fascinating portal into the moral and artistic world of feudal Japan. These scrolls, vividly painted and meticulously detailed, were far more than just artistic treasures. They were powerful tools used to convey moral lessons and instill a sense of fear and accountability among the populace. The imagery within these scrolls was nothing short of compelling, portraying the various realms of Buddhist hells with all their terrifying and complex punishments. Designed to be both instructive and cautionary, the scrolls depicted sinners enduring torturous retribution for their earthly wrongdoings, each image a stark reminder of the ethical path one should pursue. The artistic style of Jugoku Zoshi was strikingly dramatic, utilizing bold lines and vibrant colors to captivate the viewer, making it impossible to look away from the gruesome scenes depicted. The narrative flow of these scrolls was carefully constructed to lead the observer through a journey of moral reflection, illustrating the inevitable consequences of sin and the virtues of righteous living. Through allegorical tales embedded within the illustrations, these scrolls echoed the teachings of the time, reinforcing the importance of compassion, honesty, and adherence to Buddhist precepts. As a cultural artifact, Jugoku Zoshi were more than just sermons in art form. They were integral to the religious and educational fabric of the period. Temples and community gatherings would often display them as part of religious instruction, ensuring that their lessons reached a broad audience. The connection between these scrolls and the moral teachings of feudal Japan was profound, serving as a visual doctrine that reminded all who viewed them of the spiritual stakes involved in their everyday actions. In exploring these scrolls, we gain a deeper understanding of how art was wielded as a persuasive force, shaping the moral compass of society and weaving a narrative of accountability and redemption amidst the vivid scenes of hell's torment. Curses and hexes were an ever-present specter in feudal Japan, lurking in the shadows and frequently blamed for a myriad of personal misfortunes and societal troubles. Belief in the influence of malevolent forces was deeply embedded in the cultural psyche, with many attributing unexpected illnesses, failures, or disasters to the dark powers wielded by those skilled in the arcane arts. These practitioners, often feared and shunned, were believed to possess the ability to manipulate unseen energies, casting spells that could alter fate and bring about dire consequences. In the folklore of feudal Japan, stories abound of curses placed upon individuals or entire villages, resulting in everything from crop failure to inexplicable deaths. Those who found themselves the target of such curses might seek protective measures, employing counterspells or engaging the services of a spiritual intermediary to remove or mitigate the curse's effects. Rituals of purification and offerings to appease offended spirits were commonplace, reflecting a society that both feared and respected the mysterious forces that lay beyond human comprehension. One legendary tale recounts the story of Tera no Masakoto, a rebellious samurai whose spirit, after his execution, was believed to have cast a powerful curse on those who wronged him, resulting in mysterious calamities in the region long after his demise. Such stories not only fueled the fear of curses but also served to remind the living of the potential consequences of betrayal and injustice. The prevalence of curses and hexes in feudal Japan illustrates a world where the boundaries between the natural and supernatural were fluid, and the human desire to understand and control destiny was ever present. These beliefs shaped everyday life, influencing decisions and behaviors as people sought to navigate the capricious whims of fate. Through this exploration of curses and hexes, we gain insight into a society that constantly grappled with the unseen forces influencing their world, a testament to the enduring impact of fear and the unknown in shaping cultural practices and societal norms. Animal sacrifices played a significant role in the religious and cultural practices of feudal Japan, rooted in the belief that offering animals could secure divine favor or avert looming disasters. These sacrifices were seen as a vital connection between the human and divine realms, a means of ensuring protection and prosperity. Commonly used animals included chickens, boars, and occasionally cattle, each chosen for their symbolic significance and the perceived potency of their life force. These offerings were not arbitrary but were deeply embedded in the Shinto and Buddhist contexts that shaped the spiritual landscape of the time. In Shinto practices, sacrifices were often made to kami, the divine spirits that inhabited natural elements such as rivers, mountains, and forests. By offering animals, communities hoped to appease these spirits, asking for blessings such as bountiful harvests, protection from natural calamities, or success in communal endeavors. The timing of these sacrifices often coincided with agricultural cycles, marking important transitions such as planting and harvest seasons. These rituals underscored the belief that human prosperity was intricately tied to maintaining harmony with the natural world. As people gathered for these ceremonies, the collective act of sacrifice reinforced communal bonds and shared responsibilities, emphasizing the interconnectedness of all life. Within the Buddhist context, animal sacrifices took on a different nuance, often symbolizing the relinquishing of earthly attachments and desires. Although Buddhism generally advocated non-violence, certain sects saw these offerings as a necessary concession to local beliefs, reflecting the complex interplay between imported and indigenous traditions. Through these practices, communities navigated their relationship with the divine, seeking balance and favor through acts of devotion and sacrifice. This exploration of animal sacrifices reveals a society profoundly aware of its reliance on the natural world, using ritual as a means to negotiate the uncertainties of life and affirm the sacred ties that bound them to the environment and each other. As we reflect on these practices, we're reminded of the enduring human quest to seek divine assurance and the ways in which communities have historically sought to understand and influence the forces that govern their world. Ritual cannibalism in burial rites reveals a deeply symbolic practice that, while unsettling to modern sensibilities, was believed to honor the deceased by integrating their spirit into the living community. This practice, though rare, highlights the intricate relationship between the living and the dead in some regions of feudal Japan. The act of consuming the flesh of the deceased was seen as a way to keep their spirit alive within the community, ensuring that their essence and wisdom continued to influence and protect those left behind. Anthropologically, these rites can be viewed through the lens of kinship and spiritual continuity. They reflect a belief system where death was not merely an end but a transformation, a process that involved not just mourning but celebration of the deceased's life and their enduring connection to the living. This notion of spiritual continuity underscores the idea that the dead remained active participants in the community's spiritual and social fabric. Regional variations in these practices existed, with some areas reportedly conducting such rites as secretive ceremonies among close family members or clans, deeply rooted in local customs and beliefs. Historical references, though sparse and often interwoven with myth, suggest that these rites may have been more prevalent in times of social upheaval or environmental stress, where community cohesion was paramount. These accounts, while chilling, provide insight into a world where the boundaries between life and death were fluid, and the integration of the deceased spirit was seen as essential for communal well-being. Understanding these practices invites reflection on how different cultures interpret death and the afterlife, highlighting the diverse ways societies have sought to maintain connections with ancestors and preserve the lineage of wisdom through generations. As we delve into the complexities of ritual cannibalism in burial rites, we glimpse a society engaged in the perpetual balancing act between reverence for the past and the continuity of life. Widow burning, known as johatsu, presents a chilling glimpse into the lengths to which loyalty was expected to extend in feudal Japan. This phenomenon, where widows were compelled to self-immolate upon their husband's death, underscores the extreme and often oppressive social expectations placed upon women. The act was perceived as the ultimate demonstration of wifely devotion, reflecting a society where a woman's identity and value were inextricably tied to her husband. Historical evidence, though not as extensively documented as some other regional practices, suggests that these incidents, while rare, were influenced by deep-seated beliefs in honor and loyalty that permeated societal norms. The societal pressure for johatsu can be traced back to the rigid hierarchical structures that governed gender roles. Women were expected to embody submission and loyalty, virtues that were extolled and reinforced through cultural narratives and practices. The ritual of widow burning was not merely about loyalty. It was intertwined with notions of purity, as the act was seen as a means to achieve spiritual cleansing and unity with the deceased. This viewpoint was echoed in various other cultures, such as the practice of sati in India, where similar acts symbolized a woman's ultimate devotion to her husband. Despite the gravity of these expectations, it's essential to recognize the underlying dynamics of power and control that perpetuated such practices. Rituals like johatsu reveal how societal order was maintained through the manipulation of gender roles, where women were often the bearers of the harshest societal norms. The phenomenon serves as a stark reminder of how cultural and religious frameworks were used to justify practices that subjugated women, perpetuating cycles of inequality and oppression. Reflecting on these practices encourages us to consider the pervasive impact of ritual and societal expectations on gender and identity. While modern perspectives overwhelmingly condemn such acts, exploring these historical phenomena provides valuable insights into the cultural landscapes that shaped human behavior and social structures. As we examine johatsu, we're prompted to reflect on how far societies have come in redefining gender roles and fostering equality, while also acknowledging the remnants of these expectations that persist in various forms today. This exploration into the somber world of widow burning urges a deeper understanding of the intersections between ritual, power, and the enduring quest for social justice. Ritual exorcism of home spirits reveals a fascinating aspect of feudal Japan's spiritual practices, showcasing the lengths to which people would go to restore harmony within their homes. These rituals were not merely superstitious acts but integral parts of the cultural belief system, often overseen by religious figures who played crucial roles in the spiritual life of the community. Monks, priests, and shamans were called upon to perform ceremonies aimed at banishing malevolent spirits believed to inhabit homes, causing disturbances, illness, or misfortune. These spirits, often thought to be the restless souls of the deceased or mischievous yokai, were targeted through specific rites that combined chants, offerings, and symbolic gestures designed to cleanse the living space. Communities would gather for these exorcisms, creating a sense of unity and shared purpose in the face of spiritual adversity. The ceremonies were not only about expelling spirits, but also reinforcing communal bonds and providing reassurance that harmony could be restored through collective faith and action. Such gatherings reflected the deep-seated belief in the interconnectedness of the spiritual and physical worlds, where balance and tranquility were paramount for well-being. Interestingly, many of these practices persist in modern Japan, albeit in evolved forms. One can still find ceremonies where religious figures conduct blessings and purifications in newly built homes or during significant life transitions, illustrating how tradition has adapted to contemporary life while maintaining its core essence. These rituals continue to offer comfort and a sense of continuity, bridging the ancient with the present. The persistence of these practices highlights the enduring cultural belief in the unseen forces that influence daily life, reminding us of the timeless quest to maintain harmony amidst the chaos of existence. Through this lens, we see how history's echoes resonate in today's world, revealing a society that holds steadfast to its spiritual roots while navigating the complexities of modernity. The cultural significance of Obon festivals reveals a profound connection between the living and the ancestral spirits revered in Japanese culture. Occurring annually, Obon is more than a festival. It is a sacred time dedicated to honoring ancestors, believed to return to the physical world to visit their living descendants. This tradition is deeply rooted in both Buddhist and Shinto beliefs, reflecting a harmonious blend of spirituality and cultural identity. During Obon, families engage in a variety of rituals designed to welcome and celebrate the spirits of their ancestors. The illuminating practice of Bon Odori, a dance performed to entertain and honor the spirits, is a communal event that brings people together in joyful remembrance. These dances, often accompanied by traditional music, serve not only as entertainment but also as a means to express gratitude and connection to those who have passed. Lanterns are lit to guide the spirits to the homes of their families, symbolizing the light of remembrance and offering a path back to the world beyond. Offerings of food and flowers are made on altars to show respect and provide comfort to the visiting spirits, a gesture of hospitality that underscores the enduring bonds between generations. Over time, Obon has evolved, with modern interpretations embracing both traditional and contemporary elements, reflecting the adaptable nature of cultural practices. While the core essence remains unchanged, incorporating new music styles, dance forms, and community activities highlights how Obon continues to adapt while preserving its spiritual heritage. This festival stands as a testament to the seamless convergence of religious beliefs and cultural identity, illustrating the resilience and continuity of traditions in Japan. Obon offers a window into the ways in which cultural practices are maintained and cherished, connecting the present to the past and fostering a sense of shared history and identity. Through the lens of Obon, we are reminded of the universal desire to honor and remember those who have come before us, reflecting a timeless appreciation for the enduring influence of ancestry on our lives. As we conclude our journey through the eerie landscape of feudal Japan, we find ourselves captivated by a world where the boundaries between reality and the supernatural were fluid and ever entwined. From the honor-laden rituals of Seppuku and the chilling tales of Onryō seeking vengeance to the whimsical yet ominous folklore of Yokai, each practice unravels a layer of complexity in historical societies that fascinates and provokes thought. These rituals and beliefs vividly illustrate a culture where honor, superstition, and the divine shaped daily life in ways that both intrigue and unsettle our modern sensibilities. The glimpse into these customs invites us to reflect on how perspectives evolve, challenging us to consider how the threads of history continue to weave into the present. As you ponder these mysterious traditions, we encourage you to share your thoughts or any experiences with historical customs in the comments below. Let's uncover more of the past together. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us for more captivating historical mysteries. If you enjoyed this journey, give us a like and click the notification bell so you'll never miss our latest explorations into the shadows of history. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep your curiosity alive and your mind open to the wonders of the past.